Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Love is clean and love is pure. And love is a thing that no doctor can cure. And love is a thing we need for sure. And if you don't got it, you got the music calling you. Reach out and touch your musical sound. No matter you're young or old, you got to let the good time roll. But it's still you say,
Can't wait any longer. Hey, hi out there. MJ, I know it's been a while, but I'm back. I am so back. I am so ready. And I cannot wait to tell you all how I flipped these patterns in my life, because they were reoccurring all the time, constantly. So where have y'all been? Text me. You have questions, let me know. Everything is up and running. Our beautiful MBR is on their final days of the Veterans Cruise that took place with Fairway Travels on Carnival. So they're going to have so much fun when they come back to share with us the joys that they had, and let you know there's something really special. You see? Right up there. You see that right there? Go ahead and use your phone and take your phone and go on there. That is for the reefs across America. These are the reefs that are going to get put on. We still haven't reached our goals. So please, 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 from your heart, put a reef at Arlington Cemetery on one of those graves. All you have to do is buy it. There is many, many veterans who are going to go out and put those wreaths, and we would love to see wreaths on every single one of those veterans tombstones, and just know that we are honoring them. So that's that little code right there. So go ahead and use it. Other things that are crazy, we still got Jersey Mike's, we still got Dunkin' Donut. Now we're leading into Sony Musics, I believe, our Sony videos. So Sony is now a part of us. So you'll be seeing our capture of those. So there is so much happening here at MBR, and so much from grace and humility just for us going forward and enjoying life, back into enjoying life. So let's dig in. This is number 59. This is our 59th episode here. And I'm going to read, because somebody goes, I like your readings of those episodes. So we're going to read what those episodes mean. So 59. So if anybody's a podcaster and you're looking at your episodes numbers, see what the angels have to say about those numbers. Today, our number is the number 59. 59 correlates into a 14, right? 5 plus 9 is 14. And then the 1 plus the 4 is the 5. So our numbers today is the number 5. I feel like Sesame Street. It's brought to you today by the number 5. So 5, you are being guided to move in a new direction. 5 is all about change. If you're a numerologist, right? 5 is change, time out, change, right? And they're very want you to change. So it's asking you to move in a new direction. That's the change. Hand over any fears and worries that you may have regarding the changes that are presenting in your life. Right now, the angels are moving in a new direction, will inspire adventure, and will prove to be a very positive step for you. Angel power word today on it's kindness. Oh my gosh, kindness. Say it, everybody. Kindness. We got it. We have to have kindness. We have to have our love back in our heart for our kindness. The angel number also contains the number 59. The acts of kindness that you perform for others are applauded by the angelical team. Know that even the simplest of deeds, such as a smile or acknowledging another by saying hello, good morning, can truly make a person's day. Your kindness creates positive change. Do not underestimate the difference you make in the world, Earth Angel. Okay, so that is number 59. That's beautiful. I love that. And that is really, really inspiring for me. I hope it was inspiring for you, because today is all about an awareness. And it's an awareness for me about patience. 59 is the kindness. Kindness goes with patience so much. And people are like, MJ, I didn't see it really in the beginning of the year. It's really been a struggling year. So where have I been? We're going to break this down. As a disabled vet, I play all the time with auto and neuroimmunity. If you heard my show about my illness, about the military, I can't remember what it was, but it's back early in the episodes. I want to say like episode number 5, or it's early, when I discuss why I came on MBR and why I do what I do with the veterans and why I've changed my life. So before I realized that metaphysical causation can help cure your body, Dr. Joe Dispenza is a brilliant motivational speaker for it. And he's derived about the brain healing. So before him, there was another beautiful person in life. Her name was Louise Hay. And people were healing their bodies with mind control of the metaphysical causations and able to using affirmations to twist or to assist their help. Now, you're going to say, MJ, I understand there's a lot of different modalities out there. So life sometimes, when you make a choice and that choice is going really good, but then all of a sudden, 5 months later, 6 months later, there might be a hiccup with your choice, but that's okay. When people start to see that hiccup, and then they start to see another one, then they start listening to people around them, right? Then all of a sudden, their ego and judgment kicks in. No good, no bueno, it's bad. Bad news just in total. So what we try to do, did you just hear that? Man, I got to get the cobwebs out. I didn't say try. What we're going to do, how about that? What we are going to do is we are now going to be able to figure out if I have a hurt foot, a hurt brain, a hurt heart, if I have a hurt lung, a hurt liver, kidney, whatever it is, it's connected directly to a metaphysical causation that they want you to be aware of, the soul within itself. I know people think it's pahooey, but Dr. Joe Dispenza doesn't think it was. Lewis Hayes doesn't think it was. Dr. Royal Rife didn't think it was. Albert Einstein didn't think it was. Nor did Nikola Tesla think it was. Nor did Mikhail Usry. None of them thought it was pooey. However, when it comes to money, right? Big Pharma says, no, nothing can be. So I had a discussion before we get into my journey here. I had a discussion this weekend, and I want to bring it to fruition. There's a lot of religions who do not believe in alternative medicine, holistical medicine, Eastern medicine. Only Western medicine they believe in. And to the point, they make it a conscious awareness that it is big pharma all the way. They will take all the injections, they will take all the pills, and it's big pharma. And they trust it like religion and people trust God. But yet, it's made by man. What? It's made by man. Big pharma is made by man. Let me just give you a few instances of man making stuff, not God. And I always say God made the tree, but he didn't make the chair. Big pharma. God made the plants, but he didn't make the medicine. Because there are medicines out there, right, that can be both healing and crippling. They can also play a huge detriment. For instance, you got bit by a rattlesnake. My husband did. And everyone basically at ICU 3 days, they were like, oh my God, he could die. Yes, absolutely. If didn't have the right medicine, anti-venom, it's venom, but it's now the actual antidote to actually counteract the venom by using the venom, inserting it in a sheep where the sheep could actually repel the venom. So then they take the blood of the sheep, and that has created the anti-venom. And they do it in New Zealand. Did you know that? Now that is great fundamental medicine. There's nothing added to the there's nothing. It is trickled down through the system of the sheep who was infected with the bite. Isn't that amazing? Okay, that is awesome. What is also awesome is if somebody has an organ failure and we can go in and we can replace that organ. Yep, some people say you're playing with other people's life. You're playing God in doing that. But yet there's some religions who totally believe in that science. Does that go against your religional codes, your septic codes, or is that man trying to figure out how to make man live longer? How do we do that? How do we balance this? There's so many wonderful, wonderful things that are happening, but yet there are some that is not so wonderful. And when we get attached to it, or we start connecting into it, like the vaccines, now we have to start watching. What are these vaccines doing? There's been questions of autism. There's been questions of heart. It's going to the heart. It's going to the lungs. It's killing us, those vaccines. And some of them have been proven. But yet you still have those who believe that is the epithet of God, all of the big pharma. But yet it's nothing in the religional codes. There's nothing about big pharma in the Quran, in the scrolls, in the Bibles. There's nothing that says about our big pharma medicines. But yet you have alchemists out there. You have homeopaths out there. You have Chinese doctors out there who are healing our diseases by simple things, frequencies, music, affirmations, right? Massages, salt caves, infrareds. Some of the most simplest forms of life are helping people live longer, and they don't even realize it. So when I started my story and I told you how I defeated Big Pharma, and I don't like Big Pharma, in 2015, I started that journey of removing the 24 big pharmacy drugs because I'm auto and neuroimmune by an inflicted vaccine that I was given as an experiment. 25 other of us in the Air Force were sent out to get it. We did get it. My body did not last very good with it, and it took it down. And it created what people thought at the point was Guillain-Barré syndrome. And with Guillain-Barré, you just know you're either going to live or die. And if you live and whatever you have left, that's what you have left. And it's a one and done thing. But when it constantly reoccurs, it's no longer a one and done thing. So now we have to learn to live with our disability. And that was mine. I am on a military broadcast radio system. And I am sure each and every one of you who are listening knows a veteran who has been either traumatized with PTSD or has a physical or a mental ailment of that front line. And this is why I love what I do. Because when people think that the worst is here, but yet I always use the phrase, but did you die? No, we didn't. We're here to live longer. We are here for a purpose, life purpose, soul purpose. We are here to teach others what we have learned. And today, my ailments have taken me straight back. And when I listen to the metaphysical causation, and 2025 is about patience. Yep. Took me 11 months to learn it, but I finally learned it, and it was patience. I got to take a break, folks. But that's going to be our show today. We're going to learn about these beautiful, beautiful patients, and we're going to learn how to control those. So while my MBR friends are still out and about on those little cruises, we're going to pick something so wonderful that I love. You know, you guys know what it is, right? Can you guess? Okay, we're going to do some Just Muse. Because you love me. And it all starts with love. Be right back right after this.
I wouldn't be here if not for your faith, if not for your love, if not for your saving grace, I'd be a loner, forgotten and small, climbing a mountain that's too big and too tall. But because you love me, because you care, I can do anything, anytime, anyhow, anywhere. Because you love me, because you're there, I am unstoppable, undeterred. I have heard an
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
Okay, we are back. So yes, because of love, we create endorphins that actually help heal our body. So remember I talked to you about in the beginning of the year and how this year and choices that we make. Okay. I'm going to save the choices. I want to just stay with physical and mental illnesses today, because a lot of choices that we do make have other emotions. But today I want to really concentrate, because everyone's always like, did I leave? Did I not do my show? I should be better at saying, I'm okay, I'll be back on such and such a date. But that was really hard for me for a lot of unknown reasons. So let's just kick it off. Beginning in January, the beautiful new year of abundance, the 2025, it was the year of the 9. The 9 is the finale, the fortunes, everything in that we have sown our seeds, and now we were ready to harvest them. That was 2029. And that is where I enjoy following numbers and patterns. So as you all know, the journey, we moved up here basically to retire, to create a center for people to heal. It is the mountain of healing. It's 55 acres to heal. I had a lot of healing to do before I could get started to go back into work. I had a lot of emotions. Those emotions triggered me to come out of remission. Actually, I got COVID, and COVID, that's the physical side, right? So I got COVID triggered, and then I ended up coming out of a remissional state of my neuropathy illness, of my autoimmunities, and it shut down my abilities to be able to feel my sensations in my feet to walk. It disables my back from the swelling. And so your back, which beautifully looks like this, mine ended up like this, being swollen and pulling my vertebrae and stuff apart. It's kind of painful. So that's what happened in January. That's why you didn't see me. And as we moved, and as I kept coming out of my wheelchairs and out of my walkers back into the cane and trying to just assess the body and making the affirmations of positivity and understanding that I didn't die, but this is what I have. And it's slowing me down to take that minute to think of what then. And then right after that, there was a few people and a pet in my life that came to some death and crossed. One was my healer. You all know about my dog, Dixie, 14 years. And that hurt. That was another very painful trauma and grieving that I had to get over. And so between now this illness that I thought for sure I had captured, because it was a very short 6 months. I mean, to me, 6 months, some of my episodes will go 11 months, 12 months, 15, 18 months. And so in my life, I would live like a king with, happy-go-lucky. Nobody knew I had an illness, to bam, I come out of remission and that rug gets pulled. That is like a pattern in my life. A pattern. Did I just say a pattern? I did. So I was like, this, and I really thought in 2015, I got a good hold on this. Something changed. What changed? I moved. I moved out of an area that after 38 years, my body had to accept elements. And everybody always go, MJ, are you happy? MJ, are you okay? MJ, do you regret your move? Even the doctors at the VA. And I'm like, I'm at peace. I am truly at peace. Why these things are happening, I'm like, it's just life. And that's how I looked at it. It's just life, right? It's happening and it goes through. But then, remember I just said my spine? My spine. All of this over my spine. For how many years? I broke my back originally in November of 1987. Two weeks later, I got the injection that was a mutation experiment by the military for Desert Storm. My back again. So everything was about my back. What is going on? Why is everything about my back? But then my dog died. Left that go. I had to leave it go because to me, my dog was more important than my back, than my own health. I had to figure that one out. Why? Because she showed me something that I had to learn. Every time I come out of remission or I get sick, I figure it's time for me to slow down. I need to slow down because I'm not looking at the writings on the wall. I need to slow down because life's happening so fast that I'm missing something. That's how I used to look at that. I used to look, all by metaphysical causations. Everything in my life. I started now looking at them harder and harder. So when that happens, I want to read you something. Illness is caused by emotions. Emotions can lead to both mental and physical illnesses, such as depression and anxiety disorders. And chronic stress can exacerbate conditions like heart disease and digestive issues. How many times you go to the doctor's office and hear, are you stressing because you have a high, is there something going on in your life? How's your stress and your anxiety? Well, then the whole world became a stress and anxiety mess, and psychology started putting everybody on pharmaceutical pills. Now, if you were lucky enough to say, yeah, no, how about we figure out how to not have the stress and how not to have that anxiety? Then maybe we might have a fighting chance in our own physiological bodies to actually cure it, not put a damn Band-Aid on it. And that's what they like to do. They really like to put these damn Band-Aids on you. No bueno. The connection is bidirectional. For example, mental health conditions can manifest as physical symptoms, just like fatigue, headaches, stomach aches, and a phenomenon of all kinds of other disorders that are conversionally reassessed in our body. Conversionally, mental distress can weaken the immune system, making the body more susceptible to infections and lead a long-term health problems. Mental health links to emotions. Depression and other mood disorders, they're characterized by persistent sadness, irritability, and a loss of interest in activities. Anxiety disorders can include conditions like generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, post-traumatic disorder, all stemming from excessive fear and excessive worry, even if you're not at that place and that time anymore. You have subjugated for allowing your ego and your superego to manifest this fear within, even though you're not there. People go, but MJ, I'm not. I understand how not being able, that's the question. Let me back it up. Most of that anxiety disorder where you have panic and post-traumatic, all of these anxiety disorders, how do you let that vision go? Find if it's stacked with something else. If you have anxiety disorder, I will guarantee that there's a metaphysical causation causing it. Your patterns of how you think. This is the probable cause, and this is the affirmation how to get out and convince your ego to step aside to heal yourself. It has been proven in patents since the 70s that it can work. Dr. Joe Dispenza is leading that race after Louise Hayes died. Now you're probably thinking, who's Louise Hayes? So write her name down. Louise Hayes. Louise Hayes was an American author and motivational speaker. She was probably at the top of her tier in the 70s, way beyond anybody else. She was also known as the founder of the Hay House Publishing and the author of the self-help book, You Can Heal Your Life. Her work focused on connection between the mind and body. And she advocated for using affirmations and self love to overcome illness and to create more positive in her life. She passed away in 2017 at the age of 90. But as author and publisher, published her first book, Heal the Body, in 1976, and then founded Hay House Publishing in 1987. In 1984, her book, You Can Heal Your Life, sold over 50 million copies worldwide. It is still being used today. In fact, my master, one of my masters, she still uses the book to teach. And it is like every damn time we're in a class and somebody has an injury or an ailment or a disorder, she brings that book out. She flips it to the part. It's in alphabetical order. And there you can see flat out. And when they read it, what your probable cause is, you see the light bulbs come on like, oh my gosh, that's just crazy. How did she and then she gives you the affirmation. So then I don't know, me, I take the affirmation and I put it on tape and I tape it on my mirror or wherever I am every single day. If I open up my phone, then I put it on my phone. Every single day I read it. I can put it on the bathroom mirror. I go in and brush my teeth in the morning or use the restroom. I can say my affirmation every time I look in that mirror. So you want to put it so that it's a reminder for you to say that affirmation. So she founded the motivational speaker part and teacher. She was a metaphysical lecturer and a teacher who inspired millions with her teachings of self-love, forgiveness, and affirmations to promote the highest well-being of kindness and love for your body. She was also a prominent AIDS advocate, saying that autoimmunity is one of those areas that can cause major health issues within the body. So she advocated for AIDS, for that autoimmunity, to try to find the justifications to help people balance their body. I didn't say it's going to get rid of it. I said it would assist it. Let me make that clear. Now, Joe Dispenza says I can cure the body. Lewis Hayes is I can heal the body. So there's two different things. The core philosophy is Hayes' philosophy centered on the idea that thoughts can create our reality, and that by changing the way we think or programmed to think by our ancestors, our childhood, our friends, our peers, our local governments, our schools, our teachers, our churches, these all in every state is different. Every state has a different side of core philosophy. That's why there's people who are in Florida who look at New York or California or Michigan going, what in the world? Or you have people in Pennsylvania who are looking at their neighbors, New York and New Jersey, and going, what in the world? Right. It's because these ideology of the thoughts that you have been generated can have the reality by changing our thinking. And then we can heal ourselves, because she taught the techniques like mirror work to promote that self-accepting and that self-healing within. So do you need a doctor? I always say you need a doctor for diagnostics. What is going on with that body? Okay. And the reason I say that now, I told you about my autoimmunity. I told you about that. Then I told you about my dog dying. That part of my life was so stressful because I had just moved to Pennsylvania. And I had basically two 52-foot semis that had to be unloaded. I don't really have a lot of neighbors. My mom is in her 80s. She can't help. And my other family that I have is in Jersey. The two people that actually came to help was literally my mom and my sister to help in February when I was in the wheelchair. They came to help because they knew it had to be done. We didn't have furniture in here. The move was really, that's just another story. But it had been a colossal And for me to find the strength and not give up, every day I would look in the mirror and every day I would say, did you die? No. Well, then get your ass up. There's life to live. There's beauty surrounding us, and there's peace on top of this mountain. And these were like the hardcore things I would talk to my ego, talk to my judgment, talk to me inside of me to find that balance. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because I went right in from that to then having renal failure. From my dog to renal, that took me out. And I had to figure it out. What is going on now with these kidneys? Now, I've always had kidney stones. So now I am ridiculously now up to like 75 kidney stones. Because the kidney stones in my renal system, when you look at it, it's about anger, grief, and agitation. So if you know anybody who has renal or kidney failure, that is the metaphysical causation. And I had a lot of it. I had agitation that shit wasn't getting done in my home. I had complete grief over my dog. I had the frustration of not being able to do what I wanted to do at the moment. So all of these mental acuities took me down, took me way down. So my kidneys were looking gigantic with kidney stones. And then as soon as all that happened, I had about a week or two where I was good. And then I did 58, the spirit of the sport, because it was so frustrating to watch my beloved Penn State go down the rabbit hole. Okay. And now as a fan base, I changed that. I'm like, I can't get agitated over, I'm not going to get angry over sports, because in the long run, it doesn't change my world. It doesn't change my world. It doesn't make me go farther in life. Now, if I was a betting kind of person and I had my money on a team who was supposed to bet, I can understand your frustration. However, that's not how we earn money. I'm not here to judge, but I think that if I'm going to make bets on gains, that one person having a bad day can completely ruin my day. I'm just not going to do it. I lived in Vegas at Nellis Air Force Base. I had enough of that gambling. I got taught that really, really young at like 19, 20 years old. So I hung that hat up a long time ago, because it's very stressful. It's extremely stressful. Heart rates go up. You can see people, or they'll start chewing the sides of their fingers, or they'll start chewing their nails, or they'll start getting aggressive at the TV, or they'll start, yelling. That was 58. Okay, that brings us into October. And in October, I decided to go help some friends and neighbors, help a small barn. So me helping my friends and neighbors with this small barn, there was 6 of us. It was a steel frame, and we were picking it up to moving. And so, Janet, you should call me. I would have helped you. Ow. I love you. I love you. And yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. So I don't use the word should, because that's a demand, but perhaps it would have benefited me to call friends, even though I haven't seen them in a while. I kind of feel funny about that. And because then that would only be for my need, not the need of both. And though I love seeing you and I'm very close to you. And so now let me just continue. So as my feet were moving this way, but my torso was twisted to that way, we were carrying this frame of this barn. And I stepped about 6 to 8 inches. So like, it's like a freak incident. But unfortunately, when I did it, it really screwed up my back. I dropped I didn't fall. I stepped and the step wasn't there, and it went down, and I was holding a heavy object. So the pressure of my already weakened back that I told you about, I ended up with compression fractures on my S1, rebroke my right L5, and then cracked my left L3. I know. So I already have issues with the myelin stripping. I had a lot of problems in my back. It was hard for me because it was like I couldn't believe that had happened. I just knew I couldn't move. Like, and the endorphins, I walked whatever it was with everybody, and the endorphins kept me going. Though I lost when I stepped, I went like it took my air out of me, and I got like electrical shocks down both my legs. So I knew something, but I couldn't figure it out because I was still walking. I couldn't figure it out because I didn't hit exuberant pain yet. Endorphins, lack of nerve in my legs and in my back because of my illness. I continued. As I continued, when I stood there and the endorphins were no longer there, now I started to feel pain slowly. It's like a very, very long delay. I looked at my husband. I said, I'm just going home. Enjoy yourselves. So I went home. Then I couldn't get out of the chair. I sat in the chair, put my legs up, and that was where I sat. That was Christopher Columbus weekend. And I didn't know, because the VA system is up here a little wonky, and a lot of it's community care. And I didn't know anything how the system worked of urgent or emergency visits. And the nearest hospital is Wilkes-Barre Scranton, which is like an hour and 45 minutes from me. Anyway, so I sat and dealt with the pain the best I could by my breathing. I used my breathing techniques. I used heat and ice transfer. I used TENS units. I used B-propolis. I used every imaginable menthol. We rubbed menthol into the area. And I had no idea at that moment what would happen. The following day, I was sent to the emergency room. And they took an x-ray and told me what was going on. And they gave me lots of injections of like Toradols and pain meds for me to actually be able to get up and move around. And now I'm in physical therapy. So here we are a month later. And I believe, because I have been told in my life, if you're not dead, get up. Right? A lot of coaches, right? If you're in sports, if you're not dead, get up. Get to the side, but let the games begin. Is that harsh? That's the 80s. That's harsh. However, what a practice. Why? Because it allowed me to look at physical illnesses and conditions, cardiovascular illnesses, it's chronic stress, gastrointestinal problems, emotions and manifesting, headaches and chronic pain, emotional distress. It's a common trigger for headaches and physical pain, weakness immune system. It's repressed or poorly managed emotions can make it harder for the body to fight the infections. It's a mind-body connection. I had an injury. When I looked up on the codes of injuries, right? So when I first came in, I told you I had my nervous system. So if you get her book, Lewis Hayes, and you look up the nervousness, it's communication, struggling, rushing, fear, anxiety, confused thinking, where the new thought pattern is, I am on an endless journey through eternity. Find peace, be still. There is nowhere to rush to. Do you hear that? I'm a Capricorn. And Capricorns tend to have a lot of energy. They're born in an energetic field that mountains are not high enough to stop them, nor is an ocean. That is the persistence of a Capricorn. The persistence that I felt of, you are not going to stop me. And I refuse to allow that. So then I get to the numbness of my feet. And that is withholding of love or consideration. The new thought patterns, I respond to life. I share my feelings and my love. I feel, and I can. I can. When you have positive affirmations to flip patterns, your body reacts. Whether you feel like it's going to or not, your body reacts. Okay. So I hurt my back. I really was not. I mean, I am moving freely now. I could move like this. Let's see how I'm nicely swaying and I can turn a little bit. Nothing. There was zero motion to this ocean. Zero. It couldn't. So I got to take another break. Stay tuned because I'm going to tell you how we flip this pattern and why Lewis Hayes showed me the way. So we're going to do a little bit of, I love this guy. His name is Rob Fess. He has something called Rebirth. And I feel that way. I feel that when I learned the triggers that caused me to go through a life lesson, it's a rebirthing of our soul. It's a rebirthing of our mental acuity. And it's a rebirthing of who we are. So this is Rob Fess.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Okay. For some reason, the bumpers are not playing on my one screen. So now we have a couple of screens. And because they're on the boats, I'm not going to say anything. But my bumpers aren't playing. So either I have missed something in my being away. However, please know this is MBR, where veterans always have a voice, and whatever I talk about is not allowed to be back on military broadcast radios because I'm opening in my speeches. That's basically what the bumpers do. So I'm sorry that it became a black screen twice now. I have to have them fix that when they get back from their beautiful cruise. Okay, so here we go. So now go to the emergency room. They tell me about all this. So I look back up right? I'm going back to the back, right? So I went into the back. The back says that it represents the support of life. That is the probable cause. The new thought pattern is, I know that life always supports me. That's how I have to see it. Now, back problems, okay. A lack of support. It goes into upper back, then it goes into the middle of the back and lower the back. Well, mine is the lower the back. So lower, lack of financial support, fear of money. So I'm going to laugh because that lack of support of fear of money was a major discussion that my husband and I had about doing an early retirement and moving out of Miami and coming up here. That was one of our biggest conversations. The new way of thinking is life itself supports and loves me. I trust the universe and I freely give love and trust. Okay. So I had trust issues. Maybe I had love, unconditional love that I had to learn. It was my dog, Dixie. Your dogs bring unconditional love. Back issues, lower back issues, financial problems, because you just don't know, and your mind knows, because it's like, how the hell am I going to live with a broken back? How am I going to support myself with a broken back? Where's the money going to come from? Right? Again, these are things that you don't normally say out loud, but you think them in your head, your ego, and you talk to yourself. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get back to work? How am I going to ever? So that manifestation in your head, creating that domino of, oh, you're not going to work. Oh, it's too painful. It is this, it is that. And then immediately you're like, this isn't working. How am I going to do? How am I going to live? Okay. Listen, when you start having these fears, right? That right there, me having that back issue and not being able to continue to put my new move together. It's a continuation. Okay. So this continuation now, I was supposed to go to Florida in May. Never happened, because in February we were in Florida and I was between my walker and my wheelchair. And in May, I knew that my dog wasn't doing very well. And I had stated, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. By August, I finally confirmed the build out of my add-on to my home that had to be done, that I've been waiting to have a kitchen. I haven't had an oven to cook in. So I've been waiting on this whole transformation to happen. And I was getting more frustrated. I was getting more angry. I was to the point, every time I would come up here on MBR, my beautiful H train would say, "You okay, MJ? You don't seem to be happy." And I'm like, "What? I am happy." The doctors, "MJ, you okay? You happy?" So happy, frustration, finding patience. There it was. There it was. If I retire, why am I in a rush to do anything if I'm retired? But I still couldn't leave go of that everyday movement. I couldn't leave go of it. I couldn't. It was like energy of the soul. I couldn't. There was things I wanted and I wanted it now. I felt like the Willy Wonka chocolate factory girl, the little pain in the ass girl who kept going, "I want it now, Daddy." That's who I felt like I was. I want it now. And yeah, is that a life learning lesson? Oh, it sure as hell was. Because my fear of money, of not having income coming in, to retire and money's going out created me not to find the patience. I found agitation. I found resentments. I found negative things throughout the year that I was like, why am I feeling this way? And I had to remove it. Now, I never knew that I was giving that energy off, which is funny as an energist, because what I think, that energy goes out, and I know that. But I always assumed that when I found the metaphysical causation, it cured it. Had I known that I had so many of them to learn, why I did this to myself, I have no idea. But what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. You got it. And that's exactly how it went down. So now I had this back issue. I waited about 2 weeks and I looked at my husband and I go, I need to go get this salt. My salt cave therapy is the biggest thing that has ever healed me in my lifetime. It just is. And it can heal people beyond measures. When I started getting phone calls that people were missing my cave and they wanted to know if the new cave was up and they wanted to know if Mary was going to be doing it and they really wanted their therapy because their allergies are attacking them and blah, blah, I felt bad. I felt bad to rip such a healing place out of Miami, but it had to be because the place that it was in was very dark, was very ugly, was overrun with a culture that I can't, and it's not a good word. I don't want to be in. I don't want to be in that ugly energy and that ugly culture. And I don't agree with some of the practices of their denominations that they were doing in that area. I didn't like it. It wasn't fitting for me. It was sad. So my husband's like, let's go. Let's round up some people and let's get you down there. Well, it took us a while to get down there. I also went not only for the salt, but the Canner Spine Institute. I went to them in 2020, in 2000, not 2020, 2000. And I was hoping now with the new stuff, I wanted their opinion. Because before they had told me with my back that they could fuse it, but I'm going to lose 60% range of the motion to bend or to be agility. And I said to them in the year 2000, when I can't walk, you'll see me again. So I figured with this little, this was time for me to go back. Well, as my luck would have it, or not the path for me, my primary in Homestead retired after I left. Didn't know that. God love her. I loved her. Her name was Jocelyn Latour. And I had a new guy. And so I went to go get the permission to go to Cantor. And I was denied because I've never seen this guy. And he says that I wasn't in the system because I moved to Pennsylvania. It was a big hocus pocus. So then we left on. Here we get better. And this is where I understood my year. So we continued to go get the salt. We tried to go get, when I realized we were leaving, I ordered a Enterprise 26-foot truck with a drop gate so that we could load the salt. When I bought the salt in 2022, I was told there was 13 tons, I believe, 13 tons, or 12 tons. I was told there was 12 tons. I have to go back and read all this again, but 12 tons. We've been selling that salt since 2022. In fact, we even sold nearly 3 tons of salt the week leading up to us coming back home. So I'm not quite sure how we ended up with 11 tons of salt, but we did. This was on a Friday, November 1st. We were supposed to go grab the truck. Friday night at 6:30 at night, I got an email that says that Enterprise is no longer, they're canceled my reservation, and that they cannot give me the truck. Same truck I used to load it, they can't give it to me. So now I go, why? So I call them. I go, what is this? I said, I have the movers ready. Of course, I can't help because I broke my back. So I'm like, I have all the movers. I have all the help. I had like 6 to 8 people coming. I'm like, what is going on? I already told the storage unit we were going to be out. They said that I was moving out of state. Okay. And they said, Enterprise does not rent trucks out of state. I go, then why would you accept it? Because you asked me the to and from one ways. And then you gave me a reservation, and that reservation was 3 weeks old. I don't get it. I honest to God don't get it. So anyway, meanwhile, my husband, he's now looking at budget. He's looking at pence. He's looking all over the place. And when we talked to budget on the phone, they told us to where to go, that they have one. We went over there, and that guy goes, I don't know why they do that. I don't have it. I've never had it. Haven't had it in 3 years. He gave my husband such a rough time. And Pence was right there. Pence, they had only box trucks. They didn't have the bigger 26. And he goes across the street to U-Haul. U-Haul says, there's no 26. He goes, it's the first of the month. He goes, that's when moving takes place. He goes, you should never move at the first of the month. Who knew? Or whatever. So he's like, and I only have a 20. So my husband goes, they only have a 20. And I go, I don't think it's going to work. And he's like, but babe, he's like, what are we going to do? And I go, well, we could try and see what happens. Maybe we could take half and maybe move half to somewhere else. I don't know. I go, maybe we'll just get 2 trucks. We had all these kind of things, but at least we had a 20-foot truck, and we had people, and we could start getting it out of the storage and moving forward, right? Any kind of debacle is movement going forward, not staying, right? You got to move forward. So we started moving forward, and slowly but surely, we found ourselves, after loading everything, putting everything into a different truck, because we realized when we were almost 3/4 of the way full of moving everything, this truck was not going to go to Pennsylvania at all. I said, let me find. I said, I'll even go to Fort Lauderdale if I have to, so I started calling all over. U-Haul says, I have a 26-foot truck in the same county, 12 miles away. So the other guy lied. We got this other truck. We came down after loading 11 tons of salt. We had to push 11 tons of salt to the other side. Well, then what we found out is this truck, even though it's a 26-foot U-Haul, is not the same 26-foot Enterprise. So we had to take more salt out. So as we continue our journey, of course, there's a lot of frustration. You don't realize how heavy Himalayan salt is. And my husband, like most men, tend to get frustrated, tend to get angry. And I'm sitting there trying to bring in positive energy, bring in positive light, bring in positive, but there's really nothing that's positive. It's physical labor that I could not help. So there's frustration involved. There's resentments involved. There's a lot of things now compromising the mental acuity and the physical acuity of our bodies. By this time, I am now, almost 4 weeks in recovery. I figured I could help. So I start with moving the little guys, like the little 5-pounders or whatever. I was told I couldn't lift more than a gallon of milk, which is like 8.4 pounds. So I knew anything under 8 pounds, I could at least continue the lamps, the little things that I could do. So I started with everybody else. We didn't get done that night. We started at 7 o'clock in the morning loading, and we didn't get done until pretty near 9:30, 9:45 at night. It was a very long day. The very next morning, so that night, I found the 26-foot truck. I told him, I said, I'm going to go put my name on this U-Haul. And he goes, well, how are you going to come back? I said, well, I'll just get a dolly, right? Dolly. Here's another one for you all out there. If you have a newer model vehicle and you use it on a dolly. I didn't know this. Maybe y'all did, but I didn't. And obviously U-Haul didn't teach me. They helped me get my car up on the dolly. They roped it in or whatever. I literally started pulling off, and I felt like the truck being heavy. I probably went 50 yards, most. And I'm like, why is this truck pulling like this? And I was going to just stop, and I looked in my side mirrors, and there's black smoke. I was dragging my new car by the back of his wheel. Right? And so they saw it. I get out of the truck. I had no idea. I couldn't even see my car. I just saw black smoke. So I immediately just stopped. I go to the back of the truck. And there my car is being drugged. Now I have flat tires. I didn't see them. Because I'm just not that person. The guy comes over. He goes, give me your keys. He goes, you can't lock your car door. He goes, locking your car door puts an anti-theft braking system in place. So if you're going to roll it, you can't lock your door. Who knew? So now I'm driving the 12 miles back, but it's like the truck. I don't know what's going on. I go, the truck was really hard. And then it looks as though I dragged. I saw the smoke and they told me it was okay. And he goes, how far did you drag it? I'm like, I don't know. Most 50 yards, but I don't think it was more than maybe 30. I don't know. I really don't. I go, it wasn't a full block, but it was half of a block from, and he goes, he looks at it and he goes, well, you probably, hurt your tires. And I go, hurt my tires. I go, how am I gonna hurt my tires? He goes, you just drug it. So it made me go, let me go look. Oh my gosh. As I got the truck there, because they had to put the trucks back to back, and he had to move my car. So he gets in the car, he moves the car off, he takes the dolly off, he takes the truck and he backs it up. And then the workers that we got started moving the rocks from one place to another. Meanwhile, I'm looking at my car, and my car is a perfectly round and flat. These tires. And I had just bought these brand new stinking tires at Toyota for $1,600. In July of 2024. This is 1 year and a couple months later. My tires are looking like the letter D. And I looked at Ozzy and I looked at the radio. There's wires coming out. And I go in the trucks and I go, Ozzy, you need to look at this. And so he comes out and he goes, oh my God. And he goes, you need new tires. So it delayed our trip. I had to go to Tire Kingdom for $1,000-something to get new tires on my car because of anti-theft. And here we are. So now we return the 20-foot truck. We return the dolly. We contact U-Haul. I go to see my grandkids in Orlando, and Ozzy takes off with half the load of the truck up the way. In Vero, his right back tire pops, fishtails him all over the road. He sits alongside of the road for 7 hours for subcontractor road assistant help to come grab him. Meanwhile, I am laid flat at my daughter's, trying to recover, and just trying to get energy to keep me going north. U-Haul's customer service was absolutely phenomenal. They gave us all the credits back on the trucks and the U-Hauls and whatever, put him up in the hotel, gave him a DoorDash meal, whatever, to make him comfortable. And he goes, I'm not leaving tonight. He goes, tomorrow I'll start my journey. So Monday morning, he starts his journey again. He gets to 10 miles into Georgia, and the same right back, but the inner tire this time pops. So he fishtails again. Now he is, a wreck. And I think you all can understand. There is so much traffic on the roads with being the first of the month, having now being another holiday. The Veterans has a 4 or 5 day holiday coming up, and this is that time frame. So my husband, says, it goes, I'm done. I am so done. I'm done. So now we try to go find anything to help. We try to find another moving company. We're in the middle of nowhere. We are in Woodbine, Georgia. The truck is at a truck stop called Ambest. U-Haul comes. They try to pick it up. Whatever they sent wasn't good. He goes, oh, I should have bought the other truck to try to take it over. He goes, I misjudged, the weights, blah, 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 whatever. We finally found this company to come in, this moving company, and they took 2.5 hours to unload a fraction of my truck to a moving before the two guys decided it was bullshit and they're not moving this type of weight. I told them what it was. In fact, I even said it was more and what we had to do and what we were doing. And it took them a half hour to throw my stuff back into the U-Haul. So there we sat for another 2 days trying to figure out how we were going to do. Give my body a break. We just kind of, I sat in meditation. I just sat in silence. But I got to tell you, friends, family who were talking didn't help the situation. It ended up with people saying, I'd be fucking pissed off. I'd be so mad. Throw the shit in the ocean. No, that's not the answer. It never was the answer. That means you've lost patience. This journey is about patience. Patience. I love when I hear people about patience. What is patience? It's the capacity to accept or tolerate delays, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. Now, we already talked about illnesses caused by anger. We've already talked about these metaphysical causations. We have. Now, my husband struggled and it acerbated. Now he has plantar fasciitis so bad he can't stand it. So now we look at the foot, right? So now I'm like, well, babe, let's just look and see what's going on. So now we come back and we look at foot problems. It's the fear of the future and of stepping forward in life. Understanding. Okay, so in the last year and how many months, it has been a debacle, questioning our move, questioning if we did the right thing, questioning why are we in this predicament. Yes, for all you spiritualists out there, yes, I was cleansing and clearing, and so was Miss Kim. Any type of energy or entities or anything that was attached that would cause, including not so nice people, who we had later found out, if you know about energetics, and if you think negative, things will happen negative. It is that phenomena of what you think happens. It is the manifestation of our thoughts. And it does happen. You give it to the universe, you give it to God, and God knows. So what you think becomes reality. That's why we always say, when two or more people talk negatively about another person, not only our vibrations go down, the person gets even worse and goes down further. So I would tell my husband, at first he was angry. At first he was like, I'm done. This was back when we just got the trucks, when we couldn't find a truck. That's where and I was like, you can be angry and you can be upset, but all it's going to do is delay us. That's all I kept saying. It's going to delay us. I'm like, find peace. And then, as I do quite often, if I don't like the energy around anybody, I take a big dig like this and I just walk away. And you won't see me come back. I will have every excuse why I can't come to your house. I will have every excuse why I don't want to participate. God creates these beautiful things for me. So it's not like I'm lying. It's the truth, because obviously I don't want to be affected by the pain or the emotion or the energies until I could figure out how to flip them for a more positive outcome. So the reinforcement of going, this is what we're going to, I have a plan. He had a plan. Together, that plan was brilliant. We had guys come in to help us unload what was in the truck and then put it into a different storage in Georgia, and then get a Penske truck, which has, I guess, the gears. I don't know anything about automotives, but I guess it had the gears and it had all of it so that we could understand that this could handle this amount or we can move forward. So onward and outward. So we sat there and we got to see a couple of things. 95 and I are best friends after 50 something years, because even in the bands, I would drive down 95 to play at the NFL games in Miami or Tampa or Daytona. But I was always on 95 for whatever reason, but I never stopped at some beautiful places like Amelia Island or Jekyll Island. And I got to see these things, and Ozzy got to photography, and we rekindled our worries. We rekindled our happiness. We rekindled things. Yes, I was broken. He was broken. It was this, God save me. I am on my knees. Where am I going to go? Have faith. It's all going to work out. I had that faith. But what I didn't have was patience. As a Capricorn, I didn't have the patience. I didn't foresee it to be one of the life learning lessons. And then I started reading. The true meaning of patience is the ability to remain calm, endure difficulties, and tolerate delays without becoming annoyed, upset, or angry. I copied and pasted that and I gave it to my husband. He read it. And I said, if we can learn not to be angry, things will turn around for us very quickly, because that is the positive, conscious way of thinking. When you continue to add and stack negatives and negatives and negatives, and the people around you give you those negatives and they talk to you about those negatives, your patient wears thin, very thin. And then you're like, why do I want to feel positive when everybody else around me is telling me to be pissed off, and everybody else around me is telling me just to go dump the salt in the ocean? Seriously. Friend or foe? Friend. But they have to learn that life lesson too. Patience. Patience. The ability to remain calm under difficulties. The tolerance delays without becoming annoyed, upset, or angry. It involves quiet endurance, self-control, and steady persistence. Though challenging situations, whether personal, relational, or related to achieving your goals set in motion. Patience is not passive. It is active state of mind that requires emotional regulation, acceptance, and circumstances, and is the optimistic expectation of the future. We learn to have the patience of Job by going to Amelia Island and seeing the beauty, by going to Jekyll Island and having photography that would blow your mind. We learn this. This is how we turn the tables. This is how we flip the script. What is it? What are the key opponents of patience, right? Calm endurance, self-control, steady persistence, active mindset, and acceptance. Acceptance, the ability to accept difficult feelings and situations without necessarily denying them. And to understand that not everything is within your immediate control. Jesus, take the wheel. Did you hear the song? That is what it's about. How to practice the patience is recognizing your impatience. Recognizing that maybe impatience to you is anger. It's frustration. When we get to those negative outpoints, we have to flip the script, because you're just going to go right down that rabbit hole and then nothing else is going to give way. So recognizing the patience, practicing your self-compassion and your self-restraint, focus on gratitude and honor the gratitude, and finding alternative measures. always moving forward. When you remain still, your mind goes blank. When you get that angry, there is no other radio of positivity you can go when you get that angry, right? PTSD. You should realize these. You get to a point of frustration. You get to a point of killing something, whether it be yourself or another person, to take it out of the realm. But that realm is fictional. That realm is seated by human. Man wants to be angry. Why? Man built it. God didn't build it. Man built it. When man builds shit, it doesn't last. Come on. There are some things phenomenally that have lasted. The pyramids, right? Canoes. But why did they last? It's not because of what man created. It's because of Mother Earth's elements. The elements that of Mother Earth preserve that right of knowledge. And you have to have that right of knowledge, because it's that knowledge that will keep us moving forward as humans. Patience. I gotta take a break. So we're gonna go on another break. And when we come back, if anybody has any questions on how to flip something, I just want to let you know it was a journey. It's been a long journey. And the people surrounding me, including Military Broadcast Radio, and some of those people, podcasters, are beautiful. They always have my back. Maybe I should tell them I need a new back. I don't know. But let's just go take a break here. We're going to do another one of Rob Fess's. And this one is called It's Beautiful Morning. And it has been a beautiful morning ever since we learned unconditional love and patience. It has just been with grace and humility, we have moved forward. I'm MJ. You're listening to the World of Conscious Positive Thinking right here on Military Broadcast Radio, mbradio.us. Be right back.
At Military Broadcast Radio, the goal is to offer a platform for mental health advocacy while connecting the military community through various...
Okay. So all of my connections to the Reese Across America and all my little bumpers, they're not quite working on my landscape formats. Don't know why, but on we go. Okay, so we're talking about the patients and how now in sitting in meditation and talking within high spirit, it's like, what have you learned? When you get angry, nothing goes forward. And I'm watching and I'm doing a lot more of meditation where my husband is making what he feels good and he can maintain his composure, which is that beautiful camera he has. And so his frustration is, I'm going to go out and take pictures. And I said, my frustration, I'm going to sit in meditation. So we learned to do this. And overall, there's three types of patients, right? So in three of the main of patients are patients in worship, patients in abstaining from sin, and patients in hardship. Patient in worship involves the endurance of the performs acts of worship, even when it's difficult or tiring, such as prayer, fasting, giving to charity, or meditation. Patience in abstaining from sin is the strength to refrain from acts that are forbidden, even when tempted. And then the very last one is the patience in hardship. And this is the ability to patiently accept and endure calamities, misfortunes, or difficult circumstances without becoming overly anxious or frustrated. Those are the three. And those three maintain a balance that we have to see for ourselves. Those three always come into play when we're talking about difficult things. So if you're going through difficulties, maybe we have to look up some of these things, right? If you have a pain or an ailment, I have a friend, horrible IBS. From the time she was small, IBS is her biggest issue, always in the hospital with IBS. When we started working on metaphysical causations and we started looking at inner child trauma and we started clearing some of these emotional patterns, she hasn't been in the hospital in a very, very long time. Her, who used to be in there at least once or twice a year, she's probably now 4 years without being hospitalized for IBS because she has learned how to control the mind. When we learn how to control our mind from so many unhealthy conditioned patterns that we were brought up in, our life starts to heal a little bit better. And when we heal, things fall in line. And that's basically what it's about. It's about falling in line. It's about becoming. And it is about allowance. Allow the journey. Allow it. Look at the lesson. Learn from the lesson. What have we learned? Where have we been? Why is this happening? There are so many different things that we could go through with our life, and there are so many beautiful outtakes that we can look at. But I encourage everybody to look up Louise Hayes, look up her books, find out why you can heal your life by your thought patterns. And not just sexual behaviors that could help cause sexual transmitted. No. That is there because she was huge in AIDS. But she also has the ramifications where when you don't practice it, how bad life can treat you, how bad that journey can be. You don't want a bad life. You don't want a bad journey and you're tired of complaining. Do you know those people? Everything out of their mouth is always negative. They can't even do something and feel good about it. I was proud. I was proud that I found that flip pattern because the minute that we found that flip pattern, we just had to take a day to go to Jekyll Island and a half a day at Amelia's. And we found it. There is nothing better in life than life itself. The beauty of life that God created around you. Get off the video games. Get off the TVs. Shut down your damn phone. And love you unconditionally for everything. Yes, if you are handicapped or you are diseased or you have an ailment that is disabling you, then you need to turn that switch in your head and you need to think of a positive solution. You need to learn why your ailment is there. I encourage you to buy her book, Lewis Hayes, The Metaphysical Causations. You can look them up online. You can see them as well. But she's huge, however, she is phenomenal at attacking the core. And the book has so many ailments. So many. So don't give up. Put that smile on. Sit in meditation and honor. Why are we in a hurry? Especially if you're going to retire. Why? Why was the rush? Why was the hurry? Nobody knows. And if it is just for us to learn it, then I will learn unconditional love. I have learned patience. And I have learned kindness. I've also learned how to breathe in to the trauma. Breathing is essential. If everybody tells you you can control your pain, you can control your mind, you can control every physiological effect of the body through breath work. And it works. Learn it. That's how I had to go through. I had to do this. This was for my journey, for me to be extremely happy and just go through life. Yep. You broke your bones will heal. If you have an illness, your illness will heal. If you become conscious, positive thinking. It's funny, name of the show. Anyhow, folks, that is where I have been. Got my Janice on today. Freedom's just another word, right? We all are free. We all have the right to be free. We all have the right to have unconditional love, and we all have the right to have patience. If we were not taught it at a young level, then I suggest that you find somebody to help you find that quickly. Because as I told you, every state has their own type of an awareness pattern and their own standard of living. We're supposed to be a melting pot of all the 50 states, but we're not. There's a lot of division. Patience. If you made a choice and it's been going good and you hit a hiccup, maybe you have a life learning lesson that you have to go through. So smile, enjoy it, welcome it, and saying, let's do the dance. What do I have to learn to be happy? What do I have to learn to keep moving forward? Because that's what life's about. Moving forward. Every time we go around that sun and we keep spinning, we're just moving forward to a higher and a more beautiful you. I'm MJ, and this is my world of conscious positive thinking. I hope you enjoyed my show, and I really pray that you find salvation, kindness, love, and peace. So, that being said, I will see you guys probably on the H Train show Thursday. I gotta see if I get my job back. Poor H. I didn't mean to leave him on the tracks by himself. He knows my story, and I will forever be grateful. I love you all. See you next week. And holidays are right around the corner. Fun, fun, fun.
Justice Jackson, they captured Herman Goring alive.
Tell me about him.
He's the face of the Nazis. I'm going to put Goring on trial.
Never escapes the hangman's noose. Very sure of yourself.
No man has ever beaten me.
Goring has to fall.
You don't just have to win, you have to be flawless.
You're walking into a trap.
Knowing what we know now, would you still follow Adolf Hitler?
Nuremberg, rated PG-13, now playing only in theaters.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.